You're asking me what a diversity manager does. I don't know.
But he's really angry about him. He's really fucking angry about him. Yeah, Barley's going to be sick. So yeah, this is Tinkin Coney. And he is I think, ethno-nationalist. So he loves Britain. Britain's for the British or England's for the English. He's from Italy. So this guy's leader of UKIP. So let's react to this video because I'm curious.
We're at Oxford University asking students whether they identify as a socialist or as a capitalist. Are you a socialist or a capitalist?
Oh god, socialist.
Socialist?
Yeah.
Why?
Well,
By the way, he hates socialism, right? It triggers the fuck out of him. Like Nick Tenconi, Ash Sarkar. This is quite a funny clip. He hates it. So Ash is doing an interview with some geezer about the farmers' tax. And to be fair, Ash is fairly sympathetic towards the farmers. He comes in and interrupts it to warn this man that she is a communist, a scary communist.
I don't mean to interrupt your interview, she's a communist.
He didn't mean to interrupt the interview. Like what he was doing, he didn't mean to do it. He just did it, right? He didn't mean it was an accident.
Ash, when you're done, you come and interview me, Nick Tenconi, UKIP leader. By all means, carry on with the interview.
But yeah, so what's happened is UKIP has heavily fallen off because obviously Farage was UKIP. Farage went and made reform. So UKIP has just been like in the bargain bin. So Nick's rocked up and he's gone, yes, lads, let's fucking become the BUF. He's a prick though, isn't he?
oh gosh, I'm a bit caught off guard. I would say.
Take your time.
So this is like just from the basic, the straight away thing. She's caught off guard. Is this gonna be a good quality interview, right? So if Nick really wants to talk about socialism or something like that, he should go to someone that it isn't catching them off guard, like someone who really understands socialism, right? That's not a fruitful conversation. If you really want to talk about the merits, the pros, the cons of socialism, why are you talking to someone who's like, oh God, I don't know. Like, so it's pure propaganda when they do these kind of videos. Like, you're never going to get a good, well-informed opinion from someone who's not ready for a conversation, are you?
Let's start with what you don't like about capitalism.
Well, I'm a humanities student, and I feel like
House prices. House prices are something I have a problem with on capitalism.
everything I've learned has taught me that having profitability as your main purpose probably doesn't always make you a great person. Yeah.
I mean, it's fair, all right? If profit is all you care about, it probably doesn't make you a good person. Is that controversial? I would say that's pretty fair.
Possibly.
Yeah.
Maybe.
What do you mean possibly? Obviously, right? If you only care about profit and only care about money, clearly that's bad, right? If, setting up casino, like he would probably agree that casinos are probably bad for society. He would probably say that porn's probably bad for society. There's a lot of drugs. He would probably be against selling drugs, right? But what if you're doing it just for profit? He would probably agree that that's bad, right?
Okay, that's interesting. How do you feel about the invention of the iPhone, for example?
So don't engage with her critique of capitalism. Give her a benefit of capitalism, which also I would assume iPhone was heavily built off of the fact that internet was built, which came from World War II, came from publicly funded technologies that then got sold and given to the private sector for free. So when you say, how do you feel about the iPhone? Well, how do you feel about the fucking internet, bruv? You idiot.
Well, I've got one.
But you can, yeah, exactly. The cobalt, yeah. He could say, well, I feel like, I don't know, the way they get the cobalt is probably pretty exploitative. It's pretty evil, right? So he's never going to... She gave her critique, which was, I think if you only care about money, making profit, that's probably not good for people. He doesn't engage her on that point. He goes, oh, what about iPhones? What about one of the benefits of capitalism? Which is, as I say, it's a bit grey anyway, because it comes off of public technologies. However, he can't engage. So it's not a real conversation. If you're not going to engage her on the things she says, but just give her what about, it's a fucking shit conversation. Because he can't engage ideas. He's a complete ideologue.
So have I. They're useful, aren't they?
They're pretty handy, yeah.
Do you reckon the free market, and I'm not talking about unregulated Wild West.
Oh, okay. I'm not talking about unregulated Wild West. So you agree then that capitalism is exploitative? Like, what?
American corporatism or monopolies, I'm not talking about that. The idea of capitalism is that you and I come up with an idea, so it's all about technological innovation, advances in how we think, what we do, creating products, supply and demand. We do that. It could be pharma, healthcare, whatever, saving lives, there you go, tanks to fend off Russians, whatever you're into. Do you think that comes from ideas and then you and I going and
Oh my God, man.
doing that, and then we need a team and we need people to go and do the work, and then they hopefully achieve some sort of job satisfaction, get paid for it, and then as an idea, as a marketing, as an economics model, capitalism, that has some benefits, some pluses at basic level.
Like what? I don't really understand the argument.
Yeah.
So he's saying no. So he is kind of making a socialistic argument, right? He's saying he doesn't believe in deregulation to the point of like allowing insane businesses, which is what I was talking about earlier, and monopolies. But he's saying that markets should exist. Well done. You sound like a democratic socialist. And he's just saying, like, he's just brushed off the reasons why she's against it, or maybe that. So in his mind, it's one or the other. He sort of just said, like, you know, we need laws to stop the worst elements of capitalism, but allow for some good bits. Mixed economy. Model, yeah, so literally he's arguing for a mixed economy.
Capitalism, that has some benefits, some pluses at basic level.
Do I agree with that?
Would you agree that has some utility?
Yeah.
Sure. But you identify
As a socialist, yes, not a communist, a socialist.
as a socialist.
I mean, I don't
Yeah, those two things aren't mutually exclusive. You can still have markets.
think. I think it's quite a difficult thing to go and ask people, like, are you a socialist or a capitalist? Like, do you think that you can only be one or the other?
Yes! She's literally exactly right. Can you only be one or the other?
Typically, yeah. Having asked this question as many times as I've asked, typically, yeah, very much so. No pay is ever enough. The unions rule, and a lot of Marxists I speak to say it's all about bringing the unions back, not about anarchy. It's about bringing the unions.
What's wrong with the unions, Nick? You're trying to get the working class vote. What's wrong with the unions? You don't believe that workers should have the freedom to assemble, organise, and use their free speech to argue for better terms and better pay? Why are they not allowed to do that? Why are big businesses allowed to do whatever they want and workers can't use their rights to work together and organise? Like, why can't they do that? Why are you against that? I thought you liked a free system, right? Why unions the antithesis of a free system? Surely they're part of it, right? If people can choose what they want to do, then surely the labour force can also do that, right?
Government, but the unions would become government by definition.
What are you this guy's so weird. He's so cringe now, right? He's got this weird, like, you can see from my body language, kind of creeped out by him. He's got this weird, like, faux friendliness in this interview. Listen to him when he's doing his little fucking Oswald Mosley shit.
I have a question. Where is Nigel Farage? Why isn't he here? He isn't here because he isn't right-wing.
You're not right-wing, mate. You fucking like mixed economies. You just said it. You just said that you want regulation. Like, what are you talking about?
He isn't here because he isn't radical. He isn't here.
I was really expecting the fucking kickers on that one. He's not radical.
Please clap.
Fucking crickets. Anyway, let's carry on. Sorry.
So it's
Now look at him. Look how different it is. Right, it must be a bit where he's fucking gassed.
You know, you are the soldiers in this battle. You are not powerless, but who is willing to stand up and fight?
Such a mild reaction from the bros. And now look at him.
Marxists I speak to say it's all about bringing the unions back, not about anarchy. It's about bringing the unions back and bringing down government. But the unions
This
would become
guy's a
government by
joke.
definition. It's
Bro
a
got a D in fascism class.
whether they are actually part of the free market role. So
Yeah, wish.com Oswald Mosley, yeah.
socialism typically means that the state controls the taxation.
The state controls taxation, okay. That sounds exactly right, doesn't it? Who should control taxation?
And the money, and then they distribute as they see fit. So
Okay.
can we trust politicians to do that? Can we trust?
We do already, don't we? What's your alternative? Are you saying that you don't want the government to have the power to control taxes and the control of the supply of money? So a second ago you talked about wanting to stop monopolies and not having completely unregulated Wild West, but you don't want the government to be able to tax people. So what is your actual central belief? Are you like a libertarian, or what are you? This is why these people don't have like a actual theoretical like underpinning to their beliefs. It's completely pick and choose as they speak. Like within a few sentences, he's contradicted himself. I don't understand.
It's the government.
Oh,
Yeah, let the big businesses control tax. By the sounds of it.
trust the government to, the current government or government in general?
Just government in general.
Government in general, yeah, because all governments are the exact same, right? They're all terrible, right? Forget about post-war government. Forget about pre-neoliberalism. Forget about governments in different countries that have much more success. Forget about the Nordic. Oh, my wife is here at the door. Yeah, look at her. Yeah, look at this body language, man. I paused it on a really bad moment. It's such naive beliefs, right? Because he's obviously he's not arguing for no government. He's arguing for his form of government. So he's obviously understanding that there are different. Not all governments are equal, right? Some are good, some are bad. Some do a good job, and some don't. His will do a terrible job. And yet he's now arguing against the government, against state, just against the concept of a government handling any business. It's so pick and choose.
Can we trust them to do the right thing with our money?
I mean,
If you're coming from that ideological position, then you're saying they can never do anything with your money. You're arguing for anarchy. You're arguing as an anarchist, effectively. He just has no ideological underpinning to his belief. Complete, absolute populist.
So which world would you rather live in when you look at your pay packet with your high-flying career from Oxford, and you say 50-60% maybe has gone on tax, but
You think we pay 50-60% in tax? Fucking hell. Should the government decide where your taxes go? As opposed to what? Who else? Are you arguing against tax? Because I don't think he is. Unless he's a full-blown libertarian, which he's not. What is his argument here? He has no...
I don't.
I say capitalist or socialist, and they say socialism. Actually, they might not be a socialist, but actually rather it's in opposition to unregulated capitalism because they see the inequality in the world.
Right. So what are you? So are you a bit slightly concerned by that?
Slightly concerned about what's getting pumped out of our universities, yeah. So we work exclusively on university campuses. I'm not sure, I need to do more research. But off the bat, they'll say, I'm a socialist, or I'm more socialist. But actually, socialism's never worked anywhere in the world.
Oh, fucking hate him. Like, what do you mean? Because, like, I bet you any version of socialism that works, he wouldn't call socialism, he would call it capitalism. So, yeah, we have obviously, post-war, we became like social democrats. And that works really well, much better than the system we have here. And that is a much more socialist model. It's not socialism, I don't suppose, but it's a more socialist model. Nordic model is a more socialist model. So it seems to be the closer to socialism you get, the better, as long as you keep some free market elements. So, is he a social democrat? I very much doubt it.
Interesting. Okay.
What a great interview.
Sorry, that was like the opposite of a good interview.
No,
She did all right,
what
to be
we
honest.
do
She's
is
just such a
honest
fucking
opinions, because it's not mainstream
idiot.
media. We're at Oxford University asking students whether they're a capitalist or a socialist. Are you a capitalist or a socialist?
Socialist.
Socialist. So I find that some people often break it down. They say they define the difference between communism and socialism and all this other type of stuff. And I say, look, socialism means the government control a huge amount of taxation and then they distribute.
Who else controls taxation? I'm so sorry. Is this boring, guys? Because I'm eating. Who does he want to control taxation? That's what I'm really struggling to understand. So he wants... Is he arguing for no tax? That's fucking stupid.
Equally from there. Would you agree that's what socialism, in a bite-sized chunk format to a child, would that be socialism as far as you're concerned?
To some extent, yeah. I think
Do you think... Would you describe evolution as monkeys evolve, as monkeys just changing into humans? Is that evolution in a bite-sized chunk? Like, obviously, you can fucking water down anything to a really... but, like, you're trying to take a very complicated topic and just bastardize it. It's really stupid.
I just really don't like capitalism. And I think that people deserve to be treated fairly and there should be less inequality in society.
Okay.
Yeah.
Why are you a socialist?
I'm going to rephrase to a socialist in a market-based economy, i.e. government intervention.
Here we go.
To ensure everybody starts at the same level or has the same prospects.
So,
Nice.
so we're talking economics now, not so identifying as a.
That is what that is. We're talking economics now. When do we stop? That's what we're talking about.
I think there should be the free market with government intervention such that where you end up isn't dependent on where you start.
That would be a capitalist then.
What? You're so stupid, bruv. He just explained what he is. He just explained it. It's not one or the other, bro. You're so stupid. This guy is so stupid. So he is saying, specifically, he wants to have capitalism with safety nets. So he's saying that. Tin Can Coney wants to try and get him to say he is a socialist or a capitalist. But the entire point is that there's a spectrum of those thoughts, and he's placed himself sort of, firmly in the left. And Tin Can Coney is trying to make him say, no, you are one or the other. How can you trust the government to tax and use it fairly? Well, you have to do lots of stuff. I mean, we did it after the war, right? There's always going to be a level, this is my belief, there's always going to be a level that the ultra-wealthy class will always try and undo any benefits. That's what happened with Thatcher, right? Is that we created something really good, and Thatcher came along and undid it. And that was always going to happen. That always will happen. So you can never just trust politicians. Like, they're going to be brought up. But you have to come in and try and make, firstly, people to understand politics much better, understand wealth inequality and why it's a problem much better. So we have at least educated voting population, so they know who to vote in, vote out. But then also you have to make loads of laws that stop all this sort of shit. So you have to limit, like, why don't you do democracy dollars? Like, this is one thing that we've been talking about, is the state will give everyone, I don't know, $20 or £20, and you spend that on the party you want, and you can't spend any more. That's the limit. And everyone has that, right? So the campaigns get financed by the people and not just by ultra-wealthy people. So that's one way of getting around big money. You can put people in jail if they take a bribe or if they're seen to have been taken money. Put them in jail for like fucking 70 years. Be a dick. Like, if you're going to be corrupt, punish someone for doing that, right? You make laws to stop this, but they don't, because they all are brought up. And yeah, this is the fundamental problem. This is why communists will argue against what I believe in, because whatever we achieve will be undone by the wealthy class eventually, because they will find a way to undo all these regulations. But you can definitely regulate things way better. We don't do that, right?
Are you a capitalist or a socialist?
I have no strong political opinions.
That's what I mean. Like, why is he having a conversation with this guy?
Sort of thing, but yeah. Obviously, there's certain elements of like social mobility that need to be promoted.
See, like, this guy, without researching it, has better intuition about the problems in society than this guy does, and he spends all his time thinking about this shit. This guy doesn't think about politics that much, and he can see that there are clear problems. Like, it's just obvious. You have to, like, these people have to, like, pseudo-intellectualize themselves out of seeing the problems of capitalism.
And I think the way that the current system is going, it's not exactly aiding in that, and especially with the cost of living crisis. There have been so many issues arising with people unable to afford their bills and their homes. So yeah, like, I'm definitely.
He will not engage with a single thing he's just said, and he's made some very good points.
So with regards to taxation, then, would you be in favour of higher taxation to then redistribute? So, for example, your paycheck when you graduate from a prestigious university, high-flying career, loads of money, you'd be happy to see high taxation come out of your paycheck.
Nah, cut taxes for the middle class and working class. Just tax the fucking billionaires, mate.
I also think probably a significant amount of policy should be directed at like larger businesses. I mean, we see like Amazon and Apple, they find ways to get around it, but in effect, those are the areas where the money is being hoarded. So why not find ways of redistributing that throughout society?
Do you know how many employees Amazon has?
How does that at all impact anything? Look, bruv, let's just put a world right. Amazon, yeah, they have made a good service, things that can deliver stuff to your door. All that infrastructure, all that technology exists now, right? Fundamentally, it's great that they have done that. But fundamentally, them hoarding wealth. So if the cost of that is for us to allow billionaires to hoard wealth to the point that it's destabilizing the entire country through just rising inequality and shoot up house prices. All they do is own the infrastructure. That infrastructure, if you booted out Amazon tomorrow, that infrastructure would still exist. The warehouses would still exist. The technology and the ideas and the ways to do what Amazon do would still exist. If the state or a private individual was willing to set up a type of Amazon, but accept tax on them or have it owned by the state, that would happen, right? Amazon isn't just this magical thing, right? They've just created a very good business. So it doesn't, like, these things rely on, like, an idea, like a thing like Amazon has physical infrastructure, and it doesn't mean that Amazon are the only ones that can ever do that. So with companies like that, if they're not going to fucking pay their taxes, why is it ideal for, like, why do we really want them here? Like, what you're saying is true. Amazon make jobs, but that doesn't mean that you need Amazon to make those jobs, right? You get what I'm saying? And look, Tin Can Coney, you're a nationalist. We can fucking slap a GB flag on it. It doesn't have to be an American company. We can have our own. And they can have a nice big GB flag, if you really want it. A nice Union Jack on the side of all the trucks, if that would make you happy. And we would own it, and we would get the taxes, and we would be able to use that profit to give people more benefits, better living standards, better welfare, better healthcare, better education, so that they become a healthier population, they become more educated, they become more productive, and they have more spending money to spend on these companies. And then our customer base becomes a very valuable thing, and then you get investment from other people that go, shit, look how much the British people are spending, look how wealthy and happy they are. That's a great market to sell to. Your alternative is having all the money sucked out of this economy to the point that we just become a fucking shit economy because none of the people have money to fucking spend, and so no one wants to invest in this country.
Harder, or in terms, so you said Amazon and Apple, yeah?
Yeah.
They're responsible for employing a large volume of people. So.
I fully agree, but is the distribution of income throughout that equal? No. Certain people get significantly amount more than...
Again, this guy is probably not that educated. His intuition's much better. Tin Can Coney, you have to believe in, like, pseudoscience, and you have to sort of intellectualize, like, pseudo-intellectualize yourself into having his beliefs. This guy's intuition's exactly right.
Others, I mean, Jeff
This
Bezos.
is that thing, right? And I'm not calling him low IQ, but you know that meme where it's like low IQ, tax the rich, and it's like mid IQ. Well, what about capital flight? Blah, blah, blah. And then it's high IQ is tax the rich again. I think there is a bit of an element of that. This guy just has got right intuition.
I'll give you an example, just one, you've been great, one example of where the government is deciding where the money goes. So that's state-controlled items. You have diversity managers working in the NHS at £66,000 a year. What are your thoughts on that?
Sorry, I missed that.
What has that got to do with fucking anything, bruv?
I missed that.
Sure. So in terms of state control and socialism, we are living in a lot of that Tory socialistic world, believe it or not.
Tory
so
socialistic.
Diversity managers currently exist on...
You have to be another level of right wing if you think Tories are socialists.
If you're asking me what diversity manager does, I don't know.
But he's really angry about them. He's really fucking angry about them. It's got the word diversity in it, so he must be fuming.
I wouldn't do that, but I presume it's something to do along the lines of diversity, inclusion and equality, right? It's diversity. So diversity means different skin colours, different backgrounds, different faiths.
Oh, which is terrible, yeah. Really, that's quite bad, isn't it? Yeah.
Is it all very important?
yeah. This guy is so far right. He's so on the right that he just assumes that everyone thinks diversity, equity, inclusion is a bad thing. And this guy, he thinks it's good, obviously, because he's a fucking normal person that trying to help out people from different ethnic backgrounds who have historically been underprivileged, have less money, and have been held back due to discrimination, giving them more opportunities. And these are two worlds colliding right here. This is a guy who, by just saying, he assumes that anyone, when you say the phrase diversity, equity, inclusion, like, oh yeah, it's obviously bad, has to be bad. But then when this guy replies that, well, why is that bad? Like, listen to what he said. That's so interesting.
So diversity means different skin colours, different backgrounds, different faiths.
Which is all very important. And to be fair, giving a set amount of value for that is not really like acceptable. And in terms of, I have no like values in my mind about how much people should be paid, because I don't think that's a question that should necessarily be asked. I think it's in reference to we've seen with the nurses' strikes, they are clearly underpaid. And
is he even going to engage that? He's nodding. But he doesn't care about that. He wants to point out diversity, equity, inclusion. He doesn't care about the shit he's talking about.